Hey, look at Randy Orton slithering.
Oh, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! KO! Here's the cover.
Hey, what's up guys, and we're back today with another vid, finally. This one is pretty standard, not standard, but 13105 gameplay on Malinowka, which is just Light Tank's dream map basically, and no RD either, and only one Light Tank per team. So this is pretty much like almost as good as it gets in terms of matchmaking, map-wise, stuff like that. Obviously very heavy tier 10 this game. And it's going to be a very good game to watch. Kind of has it all, some passive scouting, some active stuff, and some crazy decisions at the end. Trying to outthink an opponent. And I kind of wanted to use this game to talk about, as the title suggests, talking about like, the impact of having Xbox and PS4 players on the same server now, and what that's led to in the game. Not using this to bash PS4 players at all. I don't really want to see any of that in the comments. It's really not the point of this at all. I don't care. I can always have them poke fun at people just for fun, but it's not the point is at all. So just jump into that a little bit. The addition's been great. At least I personally think the transition to having crossplay in the game has been pretty well done personally. As we dump our first clip of damage into the 4005. There were a lot of hiccups with other stuff when the 5.0 update dropped. Obviously, it was like a 16-hour downtime or whatever it was. But the actual crossplay stuff works pretty well, from what I've heard from everyone, and from my own experience for the most part, including like cross-platform platoons, so platooning with friends on PS4 when you're an Xbox player. And the game chat and that stuff working pretty smoothly, and yeah, just in general that part of it's been done pretty well. Plus having the increased server population definitely has helped getting the games much quicker than before. There's still other issues with matchmaking that I'm not really getting into this video, but just at a sheer numbers of players, it definitely helps to have both platforms on the same wavelength basically. So right now, start of this game, we're going to the pretty standard spot on Malinowka as we get a nice little fire into the Valor. Second one does not go in, but just using that bush to do a little bit of spotting, and that can be a little risky going back that spot again and again and again. So keep that in mind, especially if you're facing good players or players you don't know. And that's kind of the main point of me bringing up PS4, is that I at this point in my time playing World of Tanks, I basically know most of the good Xbox clans, probably a vast majority, so I can recognize even some of other good players to kind of keep an eye out for. So I do it too, even though I know I'm probably one of those people that others look out for. Probably not as much as some may think, I guess, or myself may think, but it definitely happens, for sure. But it's definitely something I always look at. You've probably noticed this in every gameplay that I put up. When I immediately load into a match, I'm immediately almost looking at the team list to get an idea of, one, what tanks they have, and two, who's playing them. I see if I recognize any names on my team or their team, and can kind of get an idea of where they may go. Because actually good players are actually almost easier to predict than sub-average players, just because they usually take kind of standard positions, which can be kind of good and is kind of bad at the same time for yourself on what you do, because you know they're going to take up that spot. Like myself here, I'm generally going to be in this area, but it can also be bad because they can take really strong positions like this or other spots on other maps, and then you're going to have a hard time. As we put a couple shots into the Progetto over here before he gets behind cover. We basically lost the hill at this point. Their team has taken up the hill fairly easily. They have a couple platoons that went up there, and including a PS4 platoon that I did not really know. And that's the thing. I know most of the Xbox clans at this point. I do not know any of the PS4 clans at all. And apparently somebody in chat at the end of this game told me that the Envy clan that's on the other team is actually fairly good. I have no idea, but as I was told after this game, that they were actually one of the better clans on PS4. As we get a nice, because their value taken out by our E4. It's kind of an important part of the gameplay right here, though, is we abandoned that first position because it's way too exposed. If we get spotted there with all those tanks on the hill and right behind us with the Death Star, you're just going to get blasted. So we didn't fall back all the way, though, and that's important because we were able to just kind of go to a secondary position here with this bush, get that Valor spotted for E4, and he got taken out because of it. So instead of just running away and totally giving up on this flank, I realized I still had some teammates here to kind of make use of and provide support for them so that they can hopefully put some shots into these guys, and then we get a spot on their E100 there. We put a very, very lucky shot into the 4005. It's good timing on my part, bad timing on his part. But now we're starting to bleed some tanks, and I'm kind of keeping in mind, I didn't know this at the time. This was after the game ended. I was told that that clan is pretty good. But at this point, I'm working with, I have no idea who I'm playing against or how good of players I'm playing against. I could kind of, I play more normally in that way. If I recognize somebody, it can kind of change the way I play. I've noticed that over time. But you can see so far with their platoon, I think they had 6 kills between them. If I saw that right, I know the E100 had 4 kills, which on this map is probably not the easiest thing to do, but there is no arty, so that is beneficial to him. And they played the hill well and they won it. That's where they should be going. But now they've kind of got pressure from the Progetto. If I was in a different tank that wasn't a scout, I would probably go help him. But in a light tank, fighting an E100 frontally or a 4005, even as a one-shot, I'd rather not just get one-shotted. And I also see this Batjet going in at this point with 2 Progettos right next to him, and he gets taken out, unsurprisingly. And I'm more concerned at this point in the game, with only 3 of us left, to take out any autoloaders or medium tanks because they had the vision and maneuverability to really chase me down, versus, say, the E100 or 183 or 4005. They don't really have the view range. They're all one-shots, for the most part, or 2-shots, so I'm not too concerned about them, as a 1305 definitely grabs my attention, but a Progetto is actually able to take him down, so it's a really good kill on his part. And at this point, we actually pick up the spot on their Valor from that platoon and take him out, as he was just poked up on the ridgeline way too passively, I guess, or too confidently. But now we're getting shot in the side by the Progetto, so we need to bail out of there really quick. And yeah, we just dodged a lot of shots there, if you saw that. And sure enough, we pick up the spot on Progetto again, and we see the other one to my right coming forward where this E4 is at. And rather than stay here directly with the E4 and just get surrounded and clipped out by the Progettos, rather I'm going to fall back, maybe eat one shot, but use the terrain and get out of view range of those guys to kind of create a crossfire in the situation so that they're not just encircling us and we're basically screwed in that position, as we were able to take out the first Progetto, who was a one-shot, and now we want to try to dump at least one other shot in this guy, if we can, because that would make him a one-shot. Hopefully for the E4, if you can get a shot into him. But the Progetto is in our way. Fortunately, the first one bounces, but the second one goes in. Trying to make sure we aim for the turret of the Progetto, because the upper plate on that tank is stronger than the turret. So, because of angling, the turret's pretty flat. So, able to put that into there and make him preferably a one-shot for the E4, unless he massively low rolls. And at this point, we're just kind of patrolling the periphery here on this guy, trying to just open it up. The 183 is also pushing across the ice. I want to take out the Progetto again because he has maneuverability to hunt me down, and we get one shot into him. Here's we track him in place, and then we get the high roll just slightly, and then we have one last shot for the 183, and unfortunately that one disappears. We could have maybe taken a little bit more time and aimed that more carefully. I still think it should have killed him, but RNG said no. So that's unfortunate as we drive into a building for good measure. I just test the durability of our tank still. And at this point, I'm just trying to hunt down the 183. He should already be dead, which is kind of going to bite us here in a second because Progetto tracks him once, but unfortunately he snapshots him and finishes him off before we're able to kill him and reload. So us missing that shot kind of cost us a teammate, so that's kind of sucks because now it's a 1v1, which is, or not, sorry, 1 versus 2 situation. It was a 1 versus 3 for like half a second. But the positive is we're in a tank that is much more suited to this situation than either of them. I know the 4005 is a one-shot, pretty much guaranteed unless I low roll really, really massively, which is possible. And the E100 is probably a two-shot as well. So at this point, just trying to gain vision on where they're at without getting spotted. We spot up the E100. Luckily, he does not spot us. And this is a really sticky situation for them because trying to hunt down me in either of those tanks is kind of difficult, especially on what health they have. If the E100 was full health, it may be a little easier for him. He could just probably sit in the cap circle and be pretty easy, especially since I'm a one-shot, but he is not full health at all, so he can't just sit in our cap circle because I'd probably be able to get around him at some point from some angle, I'd imagine. So he's going to make a play that does actually make sense, but we'll get into that later when we get to that. So instead, I'm flanking all the way around, and luckily enough for us, we spot the 4005. Way out in the open at this range, he can't spot me. First one misses because 13105 gun does troll. It's been pretty reliable for us most of the game, but there it stays true on the second shot, and we finish him off. Now, we can see the E100. Again, I didn't notice at the time. Good clan. Immediately start looking that way. He knows, yeah, I just killed this guy from over here. So he's going to be looking this way. And usually I probably go back around to where the 9-0 line is in this type of situation. I'm also trying not to knock down trees here because I'm just being cautious. Not giving him any information at all. But the reason I'm not going down the 9-0, and this is just personal idea why I did this game, is because there's no elevated positions to really shoot down on to him. Like here, we kind of misplayed there. We could have gone with that bush probably without getting spotted. We were kind of being lazy. But all the 9-0 line is just uphill. So anywhere you try to attack from, you're going to get spotted. And you're facing kind of an uphill battle. Versus this side, you can kind of get up there without getting spotted too easily and possibly get into this elevated position. Granted, it would have helped if I had taken that a little more carefully. So now we're in this kind of awkward position where he knows I'm on the hill. He's just got to try to predict, or I do, which side I'm going to go down or which side he's going to be looking at. So I'm trying to get into his head, basically, and try to figure out what's the best way to go about this. Just trying to juke him, basically, and deke him and try to get him to think I'm going the other way when I'm really not. So that's what I was just trying to do. And the E100 is going to do the best play. E100 player is going to do the best thing probably in this situation and just hog this cliff and just keep his turret pretty much pointed straight forward, so he can aim either way very quickly without me having any side shots into him really, really quickly. So at this point, I'm realizing, okay, this is just going to turn into a cat. This is not going to go anywhere anytime soon. So I believe he's not going to get out of there quick enough for me to cut me off here. So basically just cutting down this 9-0 line, come up and around and use that secondary bush again. Maybe I could spot him. It's kind of the role, or kind of the reasoning here, I guess, for this. I know I only have 1 minute and 30 left. I definitely have the heat rounds loaded because you only have one APCR. That wouldn't make any sense to load that. We're already up to 6k damage. And at this point, maybe instead of screwing around on the hill, I could have actually gone into their cap circle after I killed the 4005 and lured him out. Probably would have been the better play in this entire situation. Not thinking, maybe just trying to heat of the moment kind of stuff. You don't really think of that all the time. But yeah, sure enough, he's still here. Try to snap a heat round into his turret cheeks. But he's doing the right play here. He's not trying to hunt me down, even with this time left. It's 1 versus 1. Either we win or we lose, either way. And he's just hugging that cliff. So I can't really get behind him. I can't really flank him too easily at all. So at this point, I know I still have enough clip potential to hypothetically kill him in one shot. And we get the spot on him. He's backed up or forward up to the hill, the little crest of the hill. And at this point, I'm just saying, screw it. Either I'm gonna win or I'm gonna lose. I'm not gonna try give the game the chance. And I'm just gonna go in as fast, as hard as I can. He misses, thankfully. Maybe not expecting me to do this kind of crazy ass play. Go up around behind him, the heat round, snap one in, and then wait for his turret to fully rotate so it's flat, and finish the game off with no time to spare for the win. So he played that really well. That end kind of scenario of just backing up towards the cliff, that's totally the right play. But it just goes to show the introduction of crossplay is just kind of introduced a little bit of the unknown into the game, which is fine. I mean, it keeps you on your toes a little bit. As we finish that game off with 6 kills, a Top Gun, 6,700 damage in the 13105, which is very, very nice. A couple thousand assisted to go along with that. I think it was 1,800 base XP, and a very exciting ending to that game. That started out pretty, not boring, but passive scouting, not the most exciting thing to watch in the world, but make up for it with an exciting finish. So, hope you guys enjoyed my rambling, and I will catch you next time. See ya. Peace.